The sun hung low over Karen Lane, casting long shadows across the manicured lawns of the suburban enclave. Ethan Cole, a 34-year-old veteran, walked his service dog, Ranger, through the community park. Ranger's vest, marked PTSD service animal, gleamed under the daylight, a quiet testament to Ethan's battles both overseas and within. 3 years after returning from combat, the nightmares still clawed at him, but Ranger's steady presence kept the panic at bay. The neighborhood, however, was about to test that fragile peace. Margaret Hensley, self-appointed queen of the makeshift HOA, had been watching Ethan for weeks. To her, Ranger was just a dog, a violation of her pristine vision for Karen Lane. She'd circulated petitions, whispered to neighbors about uncontrolled pets, and today, she was ready to confront. "This ends now," she muttered, clutching a clipboard with her latest complaint. Her heels clicked as she marched toward Ethan, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Your dog isn't allowed here. We have rules." Ethan froze, his pulse spiking. Ranger sensed it, nudging his leg gently. "He's a service dog, ma'am," Ethan said, voice low but firm, pointing to the vest. "He's for my PTSD. From combat." Margaret scoffed, her eyes narrowing. "PTSD? Convenient excuse. I've seen you walk just fine. You don't need that animal." The words hit like shrapnel. A small crowd gathered, phones out, recording the escalating clash. Ethan's jaw tightened, memories of gunfire and fallen friends flooding back. Ranger pressed closer, grounding him. "You don't get to decide what I need," Ethan said, his voice shaking with restrained fury. Margaret stepped closer, undeterred. "I've got signatures. This neighborhood doesn't want your dog scaring kids or ruining lawns." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some nodded. Others looked uneasy. Ethan's hands trembled, but he held Ranger's leash like a lifeline. "Scaring kids? He's trained to save me from myself. You think I wanted this? You think I chose to wake up screaming every night?" The tension boiled over when Margaret jabbed a finger at Ranger. "That dog's a fraud, just like your story." Ethan's control snapped. "Fraud? I carried my squadmate's body through a war zone. You think you know trauma from your clipboard?" His shout silenced the crowd. A neighbor, Mrs. Carter, stepped forward, her voice soft. "Margaret, he's a veteran. Maybe listen." But Margaret doubled down, her face red. "Rules are rules. I'm calling animal control." Days later, the community board met. Ethan, exhausted, presented Ranger certification and his own medical records, laying bare his struggles with PTSD. The board ruled in his favor, but the damage was done. Neighbors who once waved now avoided his gaze. Margaret, unapologetic, claimed she was protecting the community. Ethan felt like an outsider in the place he'd hoped to call home. Ranger stayed by his side, but the betrayal stung deeper than any wound from war. The neighborhood's judgment, born of ignorance, had fractured something unfixable. In the end, Ethan moved away, seeking peace elsewhere. Ranger remained his anchor, but the bitter taste of rejection lingered. Karen Lane returned to its polished routine, but the park felt emptier without them. Was Margaret's crusade for order worth the cost of a veteran's dignity? What does justice look like when community clashes with compassion?